seconds. So we'll have to do a few calculations with that. But Mark Drain has now got to try and catch Florent Moulin. And that is easier said than done, because Moulin is setting a great pace, but we're naturally just focusing on the 962 being demonstrated out here, but also having a good little battle on the brakes. With the Cup car there. And that's Steve Cheatham.
Cheatham at number 43 getting by. Underneath there's a head up onto the banking.
Well, I suggest on the bank here, the 962 will absolutely fly by. Porsche 962s, of course, well, it didn't as it happens, but he's just taking it easy with that. Porsche 962s, huge amount of success at Le Mans and, of course, here at Daytona.
They're still just getting warmed up. They were only 2 laps into it. And some great shots here on the Greenlight TV broadcast. A little bit of a wiggle there by the Jägermeister 962 as he came out of turn 3 up on the banks. The car kind of snapped just a little bit. But still has the advantage over the 43 car now as they come down into turn number 1. Traffic in front of them as well is now making a left hand. The basically the first horseshoe, turn number 1, then they'll head to the turn 3 area. A little bit of a kink there at turn number 2. They're right behind the number 22 car. We'll see if that Jägermeister car, number 75, can get by Preston Brown. Dennis DuPont now gets by on the right side. 22 car moves over just a bit. They head towards the third horseshoe, the west horseshoe as we call it here at Daytona International Speedway. What a great shot, beautiful car right there.
So Porsche 962s, I said they had success here. First win for 962 was 1985. Great drivers, AJ Foyt, Bob Wallach, AJ Unser. Oh, sorry, what was I talking about? AJ Foyt, Bob Unser, Alan Unser, Thierry Boutsen. Foyt, Wallach, Unser and Boutsen won in the Preston Hens car that year. Following year, it was Al Holbert, Derek Bell and Al Unser in the Lowenbrow car. And that was the car that Derek raced here just a few years ago. And that same car, run by Holbert Racing, won again in 1987 with the Holbert Bell. At that time, Alonso Jr. and Chip Robinson. Then we had, after that here, we had a Jaguar period, and then we went back to a Porsche win in 1989, Derek Bell again with John Andretti and Bob Wallach. And 91, yeah, and another Porsche 962 win. That year, Hurley Hayward to the late John Winter, Frank Jelinski, Pescarolo and Bob Wallach. And then we went to a period where the race was won by Nissans and Eagles and Toyota. And then finally in 1995 we had another Porsche victory, which was kind of an open-top version of a 962, built by the Kramer brothers, but on the basis of a 962. And that win was Jürgen Lassi, Christophe Bouchou, Lavaggi and Marco Werner. And that was the start of Marco Werner's great career.
We're seeing the Viper right there on the screen. Laurent Moulin 4 laps into it now in the number 92 2000 Dodge Viper GT SR. Just turning the fastest lap of the race so far. We're only just 4 laps into it, so early on yet. There's the Ferrari. Of Ken Marlin and John Faligatti. They're currently shown down in the 7th position. Have a few Ferraris out here this weekend at Daytona for the HSR Daytona Classic 24-hour presented by Mission Foods. 11th running of this show. First running of this particular event was in 2014. It was so popular, it was originally scheduled to be every other year. In 2014, it turned out to be so popular that they went ahead and ran it in 15 as well. 2016, they took a break. They picked back up with it in 2017 and have been running every year since then. And each year it grows bigger and bigger. And certainly great to see all the fans out here at Daytona for the Daytona Classic 24-hour presented by Mission Foods. Thank you for being here. Good shot of the Ferrari still. Up on the banking in Speedway 3 and 4. So they have to transition off the banking down into the turn 1 area. It heads into the road course, the infield part of the track. And it's kind of tight, a little bit of a kink there, right there. It kind of bending around to the right, and then a kink back to the left, and then hard on the brakes in turn number 3 is right in the middle of the track there, International Horseshoe. Nobody challenging right at the moment, holding on to that 7th position. Current winning order though is Florent Milan with the 92 car over Mark Drain, and the 31 Preston Brown wins 3rd, with Dennis DuPont in the number 75 car, 43 Steve Cheatham, Ben Hedrick currently running 5th, Cody Forbes, then the Ken Marlin car right there as we see on the screen.
Yeah, Moulin, it's another guy that's really supported this meeting over the years and had his successes here, but this could be a big day for him in that Viper. I mentioned yesterday when we were on the PA, Jeff, that he's got 2 or 3 of these Vipers. Anything he races is for sale, and he's got quite a few cars for sale. I think he's got a couple of Riley and Scotts as well. But anyway, he has another one which was raced by great world champion and Frenchman Alain Prost. It's Mark Drain we see down in the pit there.
What is it they say, that anything's for sale if the money's right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You come up with enough money, I'm sure that anything could be for sale.
Yeah.
So as you said, we saw Mark Drain there on pit lane. There's the number 26 car. Preston Brown, Cody Forbes, Mike Skeen. shows back in 5th position.
Yeah, that's a pretty early pit stop. And Mark Drain, as they got it up to 2nd. I just wonder if this is tactical or something else. And maybe Jonathan could get down there and check it out, because I think it's coming rather earlier than I expected, so I think they might have a problem. And it would be nice to hear from Mark as well, if he sadly has to climb out of the car. I think he is out of the car, actually.
Several cars on pit lane now, conducting pit stops as we watch the 26 car circulate. So yeah, a little bit early.
Yeah, maybe we can just get a tight shot in the pits of that Mark Drain car. I think I did see him climb out of the car, just looking out of the commentary box window rather than the monitor. There's the 26 good shots of Mike Skeen we had up in the box earlier on, driving with Cody Forbes. Oh, there. So I was wrong. There is Mark Drain in the car, and with the sponsorship. La Sarthe is the area of France where the Le Mans track is, and the department, the county, if you will, does even sponsor cars out of the Le Mans 24-hour race, because a huge influx of money. They're promoting the region, and a lot of beautiful rivers running through it, and so on. Not a wine district, Le Mans. You have to go a bit south to get decent wine.
Preston Brown and Cody Forbes, Mike Skeen there in that 26 car.
Running 9th, shown 9th is Mike Smith, Dr. Mike Smith, who has been a doctor to this series and other series, a great friend of Daytona. We had a marvellous story yesterday, but when Mike was, I think he was a teenager, he was involved in a maintenance crew here, and one of his jobs was to check the seats and whether they were okay, because back then they were made of wood. Here's that marvellous Viper. Remember, we had the battles one year, a couple of years, with the Chrysler Corporation and GM going head to head. GM obviously with the Corvette, and with these Vipers, and Justin Bell, Derek's son, because one of the members of the team that drove the Dodge Vipers, and they did manage to beat the Corvettes certainly one year. But this is the car that was raced in period by Tommy Archer, great name from 20 years ago in American sports car racing and touring car racing too. So here we are. We had John Doonan up in the box, but we also recorded a very interesting feature with him a little earlier, so let's have a little listen to that in the next couple of moments.
There's no doubt that sports car racing, endurance sports car racing, and even vintage historic sports car racing is in a moment. And for sure, my hairs on my arms go up when I come through the tunnel here at Daytona International Speedway. Not just for what's going to happen today, but what has happened before us, in the case of HSR, historic sports car racing, and what we're doing on the IMSA side in modern day sports car racing. And for me, as a little boy that grew up at the track, I still come at it from the perspective of the little boy that was on the other side of the fence, dreaming to be part of the action. For me, what we're doing in HSR is a celebration of the over 50 years of IMSA history. What HSR is doing is celebrating the sights and sounds of staff at HSR that since its founding in 1977 have come to the racetrack a lot of times as fans of the sport that now get to execute events, a professional event, and also give a fan experience, because I thought also we need to remember who came before us, who blazed the trail, whether it was the cars and the technology of the cars, which has evolved over the years, the safety features of cars that has evolved over the years. But they are an incredible group of passionate individuals that choose to do this in their spare time in some cases, and some of them full time. So it takes a lot to put on a 24-hour event, but I know I've got the best in the business doing it. Classic 24 at Daytona is the heart and soul of the individuals that established HSR. Obviously, David Hinton is a critical part of that, who stays on our board now. George Tuma, the Simpson family, the late Jim Pace. It was their spirit of wanting to emulate what has happened at the Le Mans Classic in France. And if you break it down, Bill France Sr. and John and Peggy Bishop, when they established IMSA, and when Bill France Sr. did the first Daytona Continental race here in 1962, they wanted the best of the best drivers from around the world, the best cars from around the world, the best manufacturers, and the best race teams. And so now we're celebrating that, all the history. So when I do arrive at Daytona International Speedway or Sebring International Raceway, it reminds me of the individuals that wrote the history books. And now we're just here to give them homage, to pay homage to them, and to educate the fans coming, about look how far the sport has come. And for me, that's a real blessed opportunity for us to be able to do that. The key word is passion. So no matter what your favorite automotive brand is, what language you speak, what country you're from, what major corporation you represent, when they come here, they're a racer, a fellow racer, or a fellow race fan, and they're speaking the same language of passion that they comes from the heart. And that to me is the spirit of why we do this. That's why we give the fans an up close and personal experience to get up right next to the cars, meet the drivers that are now caretakers of these pieces of artwork from history. And for me, what we do here at the Classic 24 is almost like the movie Night at the Museum, when all the artifacts and the prehistoric characters and the animals come alive. That's what we're doing here this weekend at the HSR Classic 24. That's what our partners at Mission Foods and all the tire makers, we're celebrating what came before us, and everything comes alive. So it's really IMSA's rolling museum. That's what HSR is doing, NASCAR's museum.
Mr. Q. At Mr. Q Casino, we tell it how it is. When players win, they love Q.